Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Fast Track to 7 a.m. here on the Valley today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ashlyn Hill. A Fergus Falls woman was arrested for allegedly drinking while watching her grandchild and then leaving that infant outside in the rain. Around 4:30 on Tuesday afternoon, the Otter Tail County Sheriff's Office responded to Cedar Park Loop near Swan Lake. A man says he saw a woman walking near the road with no shoes on carrying an infant. Then a short time later, he says he saw her running from that area without the child. He says he then found that child laying in the ditch and called police. Officers then found Anastasia Vaughn walking in a wooded area nearby. Court documents say she was stumbling, had bloodshot, watery eyes, and slurred speech. A preliminary breath test showed an alcohol concentration of .229. She's in the Otter Tail County Jail on a child endangerment charge. Fargo police, along with North Dakota Highway Patrol, are highlighting the work they did and the arrests that they made in downtown Fargo this past weekend. Police say they have increased their patrol presence specifically in downtown Fargo. They also credit their real-time crime center. They say in total, from 9 p.m. on Saturday to early Sunday morning, 82 traffic stops were done. 14 of those resulted in DUI arrests, and 2 people were arrested for fleeing. Here at Valley News Live, we've been looking into reports through our whistleblower hotline that a mail person out of either Grand Forks or Fargo dumped mail alongside the road. That included several ballots out of the Langdon area post office. Now, we reached out first to regional USPS officials, who then directed us to the U.S. Postal Service Inspector General. An assistant special agent there would only say, quote, as a matter of standard USPS OIG protocol, the USPS OIG does not confirm or refute information related to possible ongoing USPS OIG investigations, except in matters where details of the investigation become a matter of public record, end quote. So they did not confirm or deny anything. We do know if you want to report potential mail crimes, you need to use their Inspector General hotline. The link to that is at the bottom of your screen. We also have a link available on our website. Head to valleynewslive.com. With election security remaining a hot topic, Valley News Team's Quinn Gorham spoke with Minnesota's Secretary of State about what goes into making sure that the elections are safe and secure.
And that is accessibility and security.
Minnesota's Secretary of State, Steve Simon, says election integrity is all about balance. Go too far one way or the other, and the whole system is thrown out of whack. Minnesota runs a tight ship during election season. He pointed to an analysis done by a law professor at the University of St. Thomas.
13.4 million votes over a 9-year period. He found three examples of non-citizens voting. Now, that's 3 too many. All of us want it to be 0, of course. But let's put that into some perspective. That is really close to perfect.
Simon is aware of the common critiques. He says most recently, mail-in voting has drawn concerns. In 2020, there was a big increase in absentee voting, and with it, interest in keeping it secure. The state subscribes to multiple databases that quickly and automatically pinpoint ineligible voters. One example, a northern Minnesota woman who voted twice just this month on behalf of her dead mother.
It was flagged, it was discovered, it was investigated, and now there are charges pending against this person. The vote was not counted, so it's an excellent example of the system working.
But just as important as that back end of voting is what happens at the polls. For an inside look at that, we talked with Paul Linnell, the acting elections director at the Office of the Secretary of State.
Within the polling place, party-designated election judges must be represented. There can be no more than 50% of election judges of one political party that are in the polling place.
Linnell is talking about a thing called parity. It's a rule that makes sure members of both parties are watching any important transfer of ballots.
Certain duties need to be performed by election judges of different major parties, like curbside voting or duplication of ballots when that work needs to take place.
Strict chain of custody laws also ensure that the ballots are watched at all times and records are kept to quickly sniff out any tampering. But some in the legislature believe the state could use some additional laws.
I would require voter ID. Again, there is nothing else that we depend on that a self-attestation is acceptable enough to obtain government services, a can of beer, cannabis, that all has it, but voting doesn't.
Republican State Senator Mark Coran is a big proponent of voter ID laws. The way he sees it, they're a necessary part of election security.
The only reason you would not require a voter ID is you're okay with some level of fraud.
In 2012, the question of voter ID was put to Minnesota voters. the amendment was voted down by a margin of nearly 7 percentage points.
And I suspect the reason that Minnesota voters said no is it's one of those examples in life that we see where the more you look, the less you like.
Simon argues that some legal residents simply don't have an ID. He cited elderly people as a common example. Still, he believes that even without the requirement, Minnesota applies scrutiny to its voters. In the event that a non-voter casts a ballot, some state databases can find that quickly, and in all cases, the punishment is severe.
In the case of non-citizenship, not only is it a felony like it is for everyone else, it is a deportable felony. So if they're convicted, they face the very real prospect of being sent involuntarily back to where they came from. And if that isn't enough, it is a permanent bar to U.S. citizenship.
Reporting in St. Paul, I'm Quinn Gorham.
6:53 here on our Friday morning during our Fast Track. We are jumping outside now on this chilly first day of November as some changes are getting ready to head our way. We are checking in now with meteorologist Lisa Green. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Yes, we are first alerting you to some chances for a few flakes mixed in with some rain moving into the valley here for this morning and into the day today. You can see a larger area of snow south of Bismarck and then some green there too. And this wave moving into southeastern North Dakota, northeastern South Dakota first here today. We're going to be watching that for a little bit of a mix. And then northern valley tracking some snow showers on the radar. The question is how much of this is reaching the ground? I've been checking DOT cams. I haven't seen much of it, but still don't be surprised if you see a flurry. It's otherwise looking quiet right now in Fargo, so the morning commute just going to be chilly. We're at 29 degrees in Fargo. The air is calm. Sunrise at 8:11. A reminder, by the time we're doing this on Monday, it will be more in the 7 o'clock hour because of that changeover to daylight saving time. So out at the bus stop, the kids will want their coat here this morning, and maybe bring the umbrella with them too, because there is the potential for that rain into the afternoon, and we'll have the latest on that throughout the day and on the VNL weather app. And you can see into the weekend more active into Sunday. So rain chances going to be more active in the forecast for the next several days.
All right, thank you for the update, Lisa. We have breaking news just into our newsroom. The Minnesota BCA now asking for the public's help locating a pregnant woman and her 4 children after authorities say they were abducted at gunpoint from a home near Brainerd, Minnesota. Again, breaking news just in this morning. Officials say they are looking for 33-year-old Nicole Dobson. She's described as 5'7", 198 pounds, green eyes with reddish brown hair. Her 4 children are 14-year-old Brandon, 11-year-old Haley, 7-year-old Gracie, and 3-year-old Chloe. Authorities say Dobson and her children were taken from a home in the 15,000 block of Lowrich Road. That was just before 2 a.m. this morning by her boyfriend, 35-year-old Chad Anarud. He's described as 6'2", 185 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes. Anarud is driving a white 2017 Chrysler Pacifica minivan with Minnesota license plates reading AEC 351. Police are asking you not to approach the suspect, but to call 911 with any information. 6:56 here on our Friday Fast Track. The Fitzgerald Theater, the oldest active theater in St. Paul, but is it also haunted? In this week's Finding Minnesota, John Lauritsen shows us why some believe the audience and performers there are far from alone.
It's just like a really magical thing to have almost a little time box, that captures the history of art and entertainment here in the city.
For nearly 115 years, the Fitzgerald Theater in downtown St. Paul has been a destination featuring opening and closing acts of all kinds.
We get opera, we get ballet, we get rock and roll, we get folk music.
Names of actors and singers can be found on the famous Fitzgerald bricks. Of course, the Prairie Home Companion Show has also had quite a run here.
Paul Simon was one of the first guests that he had on, and that was just an amazing thing. Paul was amazing to work with.
The performers make the headlines, but it's the people behind the scenes who make the history. That includes an old theater worker who simply went by the name Ben.
Yes, a stagehand. He had his red toolbox that he carried around all the time.
Ben retired more than half a century ago and later died, but some believe he never left. Engineer Dan Zimmerman says that became a little more apparent during a renovation in 1985, when an architect discovered a hidden door in the first balcony.
And he found this little door up in the first balcony, and he said, guys, there's a second balcony up here, because at that time for the movie theater, they had put in a false ceiling from the front of the second balcony to the top of the proscenium.
This is where they discovered that hidden balcony, and it wasn't the only piece from the past they uncovered that day.
And within that, they found, I think, some mysterious, not remains, but mysterious sort of little remnants of the past.
Including an old note addressed to Ben, which workers took. Nobody knows what it said, but some believe the discovery stirred Ben's spirit. Employees have reported seeing his ghost in that second balcony when the theater is closed. Audience members have also described getting help from a nice man upstairs.
Whoever you put me up there with was really helpful. We didn't put you up there with anybody. So, okay, yeah, that's, I think, where some of the raised eyebrows and sort of the feelings of like, oh, well, I talked to somebody.
Some performers, when they come, ask about it. Some audience members do, so it's definitely out there.
So are reports of Vaudeville Veronica, a performer from the theater's early days. Some workers have said they've heard her singing late at night. Possible proof that even when the theater goes dark, the show goes on.
There's always another layer behind the stories too, because this is a place where stories are told. And so I think, that sort of helps propel this along. But of course I think a theater should be haunted. Why not?
John Lordson, WCCO News.
Pretty spooky, wow. Past theater workers have also described having their tools mysteriously moved while they were working on a project. They believe Ben's ghost is responsible. We have more breaking news just into our newsroom right now. So this is a live look. We're about to pull it up here in the 500 block of Oak Street, where crews are working to get a man out of a garbage truck. Now, according to unconfirmed scanner traffic, crews were called to an address shortly after 6:20 a.m. for a report that a man who was sleeping inside of a dumpster was then possibly dumped inside the dump truck. We are working to get more information as well as bring you updates as we continue our newscast. But again, a live look on breaking news we are currently on scene for right now. The Today Show and CBS Mornings just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. More live up-to-the-minute news and weather coming up right now on your Fargo CW. Take care, everybody. Have a safe weekend. We'll see you Monday morning.